Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nuranisa. So in this video, my group and I will talk about sources of funds of Islamic banks. Generally, sources of the funds of Islamic banks are the first starting points towards forming an investing policy of the banks. As we know, there are two types of sources. Firstly, internal sources, which are the rest of the ownerships of the banks that include the capital, reserve, and return earning. Secondly is external sources, which are deposits in the Islamic banks. The deposits can be divided into four types, which are saving deposits, current deposit, term deposit, and investment deposits. They are one of the most important resources of the bank ever. They are also considered as the main resources that the Islamic banks depends on in most investment operations. So in this video, my other group member will explain more about these deposits. Firstly, we will start with saving deposit.
Hi and Assalamualaikum, I am Nur Shaikal. I will present about saving deposit. What is Islamic saving deposit account? A saving deposit is a financial product provided by a bank. All Islamic banks offer saving accounts. However, the operation of these accounts vary from bank to bank. Similar to the current account deposit, a saving account does not have any maturity date and the deposit can be withdrawn at any time based on the customer's need. Similar to the current deposit accounts, the saving deposit accounts also offer capital guarantee to the depositors, however with an added features of return on deposits. Islamic banks structure their saving deposit accounts based on qard, wadi'ah yadama'ah or mudarabah principles. Next, interest-bearing deposit. In the Islamic banking system, saving deposits still exist and are different from conventional saving deposits as they do not have any interest-based fixed return. Holders of saving deposit within Islamic banks which have a return that is not fixed in the contract and that may fluctuate with the bank's profit and also have a share in the losses. However, certain advantages can be offered to saving deposit holders but not in the form of a predetermined contractual return. Next, deposit management based on mudarabah. Deposit in saving accounts accepted by Islamic bank on the basis of mudarabah are considered profit-sharing deposits by depositors. Based on the different tenures and the amount invested under this agreement, the profit-sharing weightage are allocated. Lastly, the differentiate between Islamic saving deposit and conventional saving deposit. Firstly, for Islamic saving deposit, the principal amount is fully guaranteed except mudarabah, while for conventional saving deposit, both the principal and interest are predetermined and guaranteed. Secondly, there is no percent of interest for Islamic saving deposit. However, upon the discretion of the bank, the depositors may be offered hibah, which is neither conditional nor promise upfront, while for conventional, interest is fixed at the predetermined rate but can be subject to revision. Thirdly, for Islamic saving deposit, the bank cannot offer any incentive in the form of gift, promotional item, attractive benefit, and etc. to attract new depositor, particularly when it is structured based on qard or wadi'ah, whereby conventional saving deposit, the bank can offer incentive to attract new depositors. Lastly, for Islamic saving deposit, the deposit is accepted on the condition that the money will be put to work together with the management expertise and skills of the bank. And the conventional, the deposit is a form of debt given to the bank by the customer. Thank you. That's all from me. I will pass to Nisha.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I'm Nisha Najah binti Amajah who would like to present about current deposit. So, what is current deposit? Current deposit is known as demand deposit, which is allow the consumer to withdraw their deposit fund at any time without any prior notice. It's come under the concept of guaranteed custody under Al-Wadia. The bank also guarantee the full return of deposits on demand to the depositors. Bank also can utilize the depositors' funds for any purpose permitted by the Sharia at the bank own risk with the permission from the depositors. The bank also may share any profit based on the bank's own discretion. So the structure of the current deposit are Wadia Yadamana and the court. First, we need to see based on the structure Wadia Yadamana, where the depositor deposit their money to the bank and the bank were allowed to utilize the fund. The second step is where the bank invests the fund to the financing and investment activities through its retail banking or the wholesale banking. The third step is where the bank generates profit from the financing and investment activities. So the profit gained by the bank solely belong to the bank. The fourth step is where the bank return the same amount that the depositors deposit their fund to the bank, and the bank might give or volunteer to give the depositors discretionary hibah. Okay, next we move on to the court. In the court structure, the depositor is act as lender and the bank acts as a borrower. So in the first step, where the deposited money is treated as in form of benevolent loan. The second is where the bank or the bank channel or invest the fund to the financing or investment activities such as retail banking or wholesale banking. The third steps where the customer or the depositor can withdraw their fund at any time without prior notice. So the depositor will not gain any dividend or profit from the deposit money, but however the bank might give the hibah or give to the depositor. Next, we move on to the differences between Islamic bank and conventional bank of current deposit. The first one is for the Islamic bank is based on Sharia compliant. All the investment that made is based on Sharia compliant, while for the conventional bank, it does not based on Sharia compliant. There is no Sharia restriction towards the conventional bank. While for the second differences is the bank cannot charge customer for not maintaining a minimum balance in the account, since the account is based on the court basis. While for the conventional bank, they may charge the customer based on for not maintaining the minimum balance in the account. While the third differences is where the depositors have no right on return of profit that the Islamic bank made. While for the conventional bank, the conventional bank may agree to pay return in low or zero interest rate to the depositors. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nur Suana binti Alias, and I will continue with the next sources of fund, which is term deposit. First of all, what is term deposit? Term deposit is a type of arrangement where deposit from customers are held for fixed term until maturity. Usually, term deposit are short-term deposit, where the maturities are within a period of 1 month to a few years. So, there are various structures of Islamic term deposit scheme, but the most popular scheme are based on mudarabah and commodity murabahah. Firstly, the structure of Islamic term deposit based on mudarabah is where the depositor or customer, known as the Rabbul Mal, will provide the capital to the bank, and the bank will act as mudarib, and the task of the bank is to find an investment which will bring profit both to the bank and depositors. If the investment bring profit, they are shared according to pre-agreed ratio between the bank and the depositors. For example, of the profit share ratio could be 40-60, 50-50, 70-30, and it is depending to the bank performance. While for the structure for Islamic term deposit based on commodity murabaha is where specific asset as deemed fit by the bank is identified and used as their underlying asset for the sales and purchase transaction between bank and customers. Technically, in the case of commodity murabaha, bank will buy certain commodity from a brokers and sell it to client which does not want to own the commodity. Therefore, they will sell the commodity to another broker to get cash. So, we move to the difference between Islamic term deposit and conventional term deposit. Firstly, the difference that we can see in conventional term deposit is the operation. Their operation based on country banking law and financial practice. While for Islamic term deposit, it is operated based on Sharia, the Islamic principle. In terms of goal, conventional term deposit maximize profit without any restriction, while for Islamic term deposit, it is maximize profit subjected to Sharia principle restriction. Other than that, conventional term deposit profit is predetermined rate of interest, while for Islamic term deposit profit based on agreed profit sharing ratio. Last but not least, conventional term deposit contain riba where it is legal for Muslim, but for Islamic term deposit it is halal for Muslim because riba, gharar and gamble are prohibited in Islam. That's all from me. Thank you.
I am Fatia and I will continue with investment deposit. So, what is investment deposit? Investment deposit, also known as a profit and loss sharing account or investment account. It is a term deposit held by the bank. The interest rate whereof depend on the term of the particular deposit as well as on changes in the market value of underlying asset. The depositors has an opportunity depending on the changes in the underlying asset price to earn an interest which can be considerably higher than the yield offered by a term deposit. There is no guarantee on the principal or return. For structure of investment deposit are divided into two, which is wakalah restricted investment and mudarabah special investment. So, for wakalah restricted investment, it is similar to term deposit based on wakalah principle. The bank is restricted to invest in certain type of investment as required by the depositors. Any profit exceeding the expected will be retained as incentive by the bank. Agency fees are also entitled on the bank. The depositors will bear the losses if there is losses occurs. And for mudarabah special investment, it is a similar term of deposit based on mudarabah principle. The depositors will be advised on where the fund will be invested and the minimum amount will be invested. The return generally higher than the other account. If there is a losses occurred, the losses will be bear by the depositors itself. Next, the differences between Islamic investment deposit and conventional fixed deposit. So, for Islamic investment deposit, the depositors will get the return in terms of dividend, while for conventional fixed deposit, the depositors will receive interest for their return. For Islamic investment deposit, the accumulated deposit will only be invested in companies which are Sharia compliant, while conventional fixed deposit, the depositors' money will be pooled by the bank and it will be invested in strong and well-established companies to gain profit regardless of it is halal or non-halal. In terms of profit, for Islamic investment deposit, if a bank get a profit, the distribution of return will be based upon the agreed and predetermined ratio. And if it at a loss, the provider also at a loss. While for the conventional fixed deposit, the interest is constantly paid regardless whether the bank is generating profit or running at a loss.
In conclusion, we can conclude that Islamic banks are Islamic banking organizations that work on collecting funds and investing them according to the guidelines of the Islamic Sharia in a way that can serve the society of the Islamic solidarity, achieve the justice of the distributions, and puts funds in the sound Islamic track. So that's all from us. Thank you.